Did you know that every single Skittle gets its own personal spa treatment? It's true! These colorful candies go through a 6-hour pampering session just to get their shiny shells. A treatment that good that even makes the ladies jealous. So men, don't show this video to your lady or else you will get in trouble. Let's take a peek inside the Skittles factory and see how these tiny treats transform from boring ingredients into the rainbow-colored candies we all love. You won't believe your eyes when you see what they do in the factory to bring the Skittles to life. Ever wonder what gives Skittles their sweet, chewy center? Let's take a peek into the mixing room and find out. Check out those huge vats filled with sugar, corn syrup, and some secret ingredients. It looks pretty boring right now, doesn't it? Just a bunch of white powder and clear syrup, but wait till you see what happens next. The mixers start churning, blending everything into a thick, sticky syrup. It's like a giant cake mixer, but way bigger. Did you know they use over 200,000 pounds of sugar every day to make Skittles? That's as heavy as 15 adult elephants. Can you imagine that much sugar? The air fills with a sweet, slightly tangy aroma as they add different flavors to each batch. Strawberry, lemon, grape, they're all getting mixed up in separate vats. The syrup starts to take on different colors as they add food coloring. It's like watching a rainbow come to life. Now, here's what makes Skittles special: modified food starch. It gives them that perfect chewy texture, different from hard candies. The starch helps the candy hold its shape and gives it that satisfying chew. The corn syrup helps prevent sugar crystals from forming, keeping the candy smooth. Look at how shiny the syrup is getting now. It's almost hypnotizing to watch it swirl around in the vats. Each color is vibrant and bold, just like the finished Skittles we know and love. But don't be fooled. This syrup is super hot right now. Now that the syrup's ready, it's time for the next step. See those pipes leading out of the mixing room? The colorful syrup is about to go on a journey through the factory. It's pumped through those pipes to the next stage of the process. Each flavor has its own dedicated pipes and equipment. That way, the flavors don't mix until they're supposed to. Pretty smart, right? As the syrup moves through the pipes, it starts to cool down a bit. But it's still warm and gooey. Remember how we started with just sugar and corn syrup? Look how far we've come already. We've got 5 different colored syrups, each bursting with flavor. But how does this sticky syrup transform into those perfect little lentil shapes we know and love? Let's find out. Let's see how our colorful syrups transform into those familiar little candies we love. Remember the Yorkville factory we mentioned? It's home to some amazing machines that turn syrup into Skittles. These giant contraptions have rows and rows of tiny molds, kind of like ice cube trays, but for candy. Watch as the warm, gooey syrup gets poured into the molds. It's like filling hundreds of tiny cups all at once. The machines are super precise, making sure each mold gets just the right amount. No overflowing or half-empty candies here. These special molds give Skittles their signature lentil shape, which is important for how they feel in your mouth and how they roll around in the package. As the syrup cools down, it starts to firm up. The newly formed Skittles are still soft and squishy at this point, kind of like little jelly beans. To help them set, they get a cool air bath. This process firms them up even more and makes sure they keep their shape without sticking together. Nobody wants a big clump of Skittles. The scale of production here is mind-blowing. These machines are pumping out over 200 million Skittles every single day. That's about 70 billion Skittles a year. If you lined up all the Skittles made in one day, they'd stretch from New York to Los Angeles. Can you imagine counting all those? It would take forever. Look at those cutting machines. They're making sure all the Skittles are exactly the same size. This is really important for packaging and for giving you the same taste experience with every piece. No giant Skittles or tiny ones here. Remember those 5 different flavors we mixed up earlier? They're all taking shape in their own special molds. Each flavor gets its own dedicated equipment, so the tastes don't mix until they're supposed to. Pretty smart, right? At this point, our Skittles are starting to look familiar, but they're still missing something important. Can you guess what it is? That's right, their crunchy shell. Right now, they're more like little jelly candies. So, what happens next to give these shaped candies their signature crunch? Get ready for another exciting step in the Skittles making journey. Remember those soft lentil-shaped candies we just made? Well, they're about to get the spa treatment of a lifetime. Let's check out these huge metal drums. They look like giant washing machines, don't they? But instead of clothes, they're filled with our soft Skittles. These drums spin around, tumbling the candies gently. Now, watch as a fine mist sprays over the tumbling candies. It's sugar syrup, and it's the secret to giving Skittles their crunchy shell. This process is called panning. The syrup coats each candy with a thin layer. This happens over and over again, up to 43 times. Can you believe it? Each layer adds to the crunch we love in Skittles. Listen to the rhythmic sound of the drums as they keep spinning hour after hour. The candies are getting bigger with each rotation. The whole process takes about 6 hours. That's longer than a school day. Look closely. You can see the shells getting harder and shinier as time goes on. The factory workers have to be really careful during this step. If they coat the candy too quickly, the shell will be uneven. But if they go too slow, it won't be smooth. It's a delicate balance. They add over 30 layers to each Skittle. All these layers help keep the chewy center fresh and give the candy its satisfying crunch. It's like each Skittle gets its own protective armor. The room where this happens is special too. The temperature and humidity are carefully controlled. Too hot, and the candy might melt. Too cold, and the shell might crack. It's like the Skittles are at a real spa, getting the perfect conditions to look and taste just right. After all that spinning, you'd think the Skittles would be ready. But there's one more step. How do they get that signature shine? The candies go through a polishing process. They use a special food-grade wax to make them extra shiny. It's like they're getting all dressed up for their big debut. Now that our Skittles have their hard shells and shiny coats, they're almost ready to eat. But there's still one more step to go. Can you guess what it is? Here's a hint. It has to do with how they end up in your candy bag. Did you know that Skittles use over 500 pounds of food-grade wax every week just to make them shine? It's an amazing part of the candy-making process that gives Skittles their iconic look and helps preserve their flavor. Let's see how these colorful candies get their final touches. First up, it's polishing time. Picture thousands of Skittles tumbling gently in big drums filled with food-grade wax. As they roll around, each candy gets a thin wax coating. This special wax does more than make them pretty. It locks in flavor and keeps the candies fresh longer. Now watch the newly shiny Skittles move to the next station. This is where things get really cool. See those precise machines? They're about to print the famous S on each candy. It's like a tiny high-speed printing press for Skittles. Here's how it works. A rubber roller covered in tiny S shapes is coated with edible ink that dries super fast. As each Skittle passes under the roller, it gets stamped with a perfect S. These machines are so quick, they print on thousands of Skittles every second. That little S isn't just for looks. It helps with quality control too. Workers use it to spot any upside-down Skittles during inspection, making sure every candy meets the high standards before packaging. With their shine and S, the Skittles are almost ready. But there's one more step: sorting and packaging. Check out those big hoppers filled with different colored Skittles. They're about to go on one last journey through the factory. The candies travel along conveyor belts, getting sorted by color. It's like a rainbow river of candy. Special machines use sensors to make sure each pack gets the right mix of colors. They even keep different flavors separate to maintain that perfect Skittles taste in every bag. Watch as the sorted Skittles drop into packaging machines. These super fast machines fill and seal hundreds of bags every minute, making sure each one has just the right amount of candy. And there you have it. The journey from simple ingredients to shiny, colorful Skittles is complete. But before they leave the factory, there's one final quality check. Let's see what that involves and how it ensures only the best Skittles make it to your local store. Did you know that less than 1% of Skittles fail the final quality check? That's right. These colorful candies go through a rigorous inspection process that's faster than you can blink. Let's check out this room full of high-tech machines. They look like something out of a science fiction movie, don't they? These aren't your average scanners. They're super advanced optical sorting devices that can inspect up to 2,000 Skittles every second. To put that in perspective, it's like checking every person in a packed football stadium in just 30 seconds. Watch as the Skittles zoom through these scanners on conveyor belts. It's like a rainbow river rushing by. The machines are checking for all sorts of things: color, shape, size, and even that little S we saw printed earlier. They're looking for any Skittle that's not quite perfect. Now you might be wondering, how do they catch the not-so-perfect Skittles? Well, here's where it gets really cool. Any Skittle that doesn't meet the strict standards gets blown off the conveyor belt by a tiny puff of air. It's like the machine is saying, "Nope, not good enough," to those candies. Look over there at those rejected Skittles. Some are a bit too big, some too small, and some have smudged S's. It's kind of funny to think that even Skittles can have a bad hair day, right? But don't worry, these rejects don't go to waste. They're ground up and mixed back into new batches of candy, helping to reduce waste and improve sustainability. The perfect Skittles move on to get ready for their trip to the stores. They travel along more conveyor belts to the packaging area. It's like a colorful highway leading to their final destination. Check out those big hoppers filled with Skittles of all different colors. They're about to go on one last journey through the factory. Watch as they travel along, getting sorted by color. The machines use special sensors to make sure each pack gets the right mix of colors. No all red bags here. Now the Skittles are dropping into the packaging machines, filling and sealing hundreds of bags every minute. And there you have it. We've seen almost the whole journey of how Skittles are made, from simple ingredients to shiny, perfectly shaped candies in your bag. But our colorful adventure isn't over yet. Get ready to find out what happens next as these tasty treats make their way from the factory to your local store shelves. We've watched Skittles transform from simple ingredients to colorful candies, but their journey's not over yet. Now it's time for the grand finale: packaging and distribution. This is where those perfect little candies get ready to meet the world. Check out the packaging area. It's noisy, with machines whirring and conveyor belts moving. The air smells sweet, like a mix of all the Skittles flavors. Watch as billions of Skittles pour into giant mixing drums, creating a rainbow waterfall of candy. But how do they make sure you don't end up with a bag full of just one color? They've got a clever solution. See those machines with multiple hoppers? Each one drops in a small amount of each flavor. Mars Wrigley tries to blend the colors evenly, but it's not an exact science. Take a look next time you open a bag. Are all the colors mixed evenly? Now watch the candy mix move to the packaging machines. These things are fast. They can pack over 50,000 bags of Skittles every hour. That's like filling a small swimming pool with candy bags. The machines measure out just the right amount for each bag. Look at how quickly those bags are moving down the line. The machines seal each bag, creating a long tube, then cut it into individual pouches. Each pouch gets stamped with an expiration date. But don't worry, Skittles last a long time. You'll probably eat them way before that date. They pack over 200 million bags of Skittles every year, sold in over 100 countries. Your bag might have traveled farther than you have. Now let's see what happens to all these packed bags. They're zooming along more conveyor belts to the boxing area. Machines stack the bags into cardboard boxes, which then get loaded onto pallets for shipping. The Yorkville factory alone ships thousands of pallets every day. From sugar to shelf, that's how Skittles are made. It's quite a journey, isn't it? Next time you're eating Skittles, think about all the steps they went through to get to you. From mixing and molding to coating and packaging, every Skittle is a tiny marvel of candy engineering. Pretty sweet, huh? From simple ingredients to colorful candies, Skittles' journey is like a rainbow coming to life. Pretty amazing, right? Mars, the company behind Skittles, is working to make snacking greener. They're aiming for recyclable packaging by 2025 and reducing water use and emissions. Your next pack of Skittles might be a little kinder to our planet. Now that you're a Skittles expert, why not share your knowledge? Try sorting them by color or making rainbow art. Curious about more candy transformations? Check out our next video on Airhead's bubble gum production. It'll show you how simple ingredients become chewy, bubbly fun. What other everyday treats are you wondering about?